All right, welcome to another episode of the MMA Fight Game Podcast. You may recognize this guy, Vinny Iannuzzo, from the amateur scene. We interviewed him over the summer when he was going for a title fight at Full Contact Promotions, Attica Take Down. However, he's back because he's making his pro debut at combatzone 83 this coming next Saturday, should I say. February 24th, 2024, from the SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire. He had a 4-1 amateur record. Again, he's going against a grizzled veteran in Anthony Vasta, who is 3-1 in his last 4 fights after a really brutal, rough start to his pro career. I think going 1-3. Vinny, I truly appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us again. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pumped up for you making your pro debut. So was that pro debut? I mean, obviously we talked over the summer when you fought on the Attica Takedown. An absolute masterclass performance against a previously undefeated fighter in Mikey Bernard. He was highly ranked in the state, in the Northeast, in the amateur scene. Masterful performance. Was the decision already made with a win that you were going pro after that fight?
Yeah, that was the plan. I toyed with the idea the fight before that, just because I had the whole situation where I pretty much got all the way through a camp and a cut, and a fight fell through. But I thought, let's give it one more go. Let's get as much experience as we can, and then with a big opportunity like that going against Mike Bernard. It was a good opportunity to really solidify, that I could do it. And then obviously, we saw the results of things. So it was set in stone. That was going to be the next move. But, how everything went just kind of solidified that, yeah, it's time to make that leap.
Yeah, that's interesting. When you go through on the amateur scene, you go through a fight, you go through a fight camp, go through a weight cut, the fight falls out. Is it different with the pro? Like if you go through a camp and you make weight, is in the contract, does it mean that you get paid or do you got to show up? Is it like show and win? Is that how that works on the professional scene? Where if you show up and the fight falls through on like weigh-in day, you still get compensated to offset some training costs that you had or no?
I think so. Obviously, I haven't had that experience, and hopefully that never happens at the pro level. But from what I understand, at the amateur level, obviously there's nothing they can really do. At the pro level, I'm pretty sure you show up, you make weight, you still get at least your show money. And all that's fine and good. I'm not in it for the money, so to speak. Obviously it helps, but it's more so just the dream and legacy of things. But when you put as much time and commitment into it, you want to see things through. So that's kind of where the pro level kind of steps in and makes that big difference.
Yeah, people are acting like professionals, show up on weight, show up to fight.
Exactly.
None of that other bullshit that might come about in the amateur scene. Now that fight over the summer at the Attica Takedown was for the 170-pound welterweight title, which you won. But this fight is at 145 pounds in the featherweight division. Talk to me about that process.
Yeah, so I mean, the reason I went for the 170-pound title, I was the 155 champ, and I obviously had that whole experience where I cut, so I was like, I'm not gonna cut again, for no reward here. So they said the 170 title was up for grabs. So I was like, perfect, I'll lose, about 7 pounds, not really like cut, just eat clean for a tiny bit of time, and going at 170, and we'll go from there. And then it also just kind of made it more, in my opinion, it brought more stakes to that fight because, I was the 155 champ. Mike was the former 55 champ. He was also the former 45. So, both of us had a chance to stake claims in another weight class. It made it so he didn't have to cut it all either. So I got him at, his full throttle. So, it just, in my opinion, made the fight more exciting and, added to the stakes of it. So, but, obviously at the pro level, I'm 5'9", I walk around heaviest, just under 180. So probably not a true welterweight at the pro level. But so I felt like, 45 would be a good weight class, really committed to the diet aspect and, obviously training hard, and the weight's been great and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now, did you represent yourself for this fight camp, or did you and your coaches kind of negotiate with Combat Zone for this fight card? Because I knew we had talked offline that said you were going to potentially just represent yourself for that fight. Is that how that worked?
Pretty much. I was trying to get on the Combat FC card on February 9th, and I was, kind of communicating back and forth with Rick. And then, we couldn't get matched up for that. And then my one coach, Kevin, who's going to be cornering me for my fight, he reached out to Combat Zone. He had to connect through there, and
Oh, okay.
he threw my name in the pool for me, and then we just kind of took it from there. They said they would look for somebody, and then they got back to us. They gave us Vasta, and we were all about it. So
Yeah, no, that's great. Because my question was, is how did Combat Zone? I mean, the background with Combat FC. The people didn't know who you were, and people were hesitant to take a 4-1 amateur in a pro debut because they didn't know who you are. Is the future potentially? Are you looking to go maybe to Combat FC or another regional promotion, or is this like a one-off deal with Combat Zone?
I mean, this contract is just for this fight, and it wasn't a multi-fight deal. I'm willing to fight on any promotions, but obviously with good experiences, I'm more than happy to go back too. So, we'll see what happens. We got this one to focus on, and from what I've heard, Combat Zone's a great promotion. They have a high reputation. Both in just the overall way that they run the promotion, and then obviously with some of the attention it draws. I know Dana White's been cage side at some of their events before, so I know the Northeast, specifically in the Massachusetts area and like up in the Northeast region, has some pretty good draw to it. So, I'm just trying to get out there and be as competitive as possible.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was looking at, not real familiar with Combat Zone, but Combat Zone, one of their former champions, is actually now in the UFC, Brandon Moreau.
Yeah. Yep.
He's in there. He fought Terrence McKinney. I think probably on short notice. He's got an upcoming fight as well. The Northeast is going. We were at Combat FC, Joe Cavalier and Rick Caldwell's Combat FC on the 9th that you made mention to. It was jam packed.
Yeah, I heard it was a great show, man.
It was a great show. They had some things fall out at the last minute, but it was still a really good card. A fighter to watch is Kyle Hill. He's an up and comer. Obviously,
Yep.
Don Oliveira and Ali Ziban, and just the whole card was real good. But the Northeast is, producing a lot of talent. What are your expectations for next Saturday, February 24th at Combat Zone 83 against Anthony Vasta?
I mean, you made mention of it, when we were talking to Combat FC, it was the unknown. Nobody really knew who I was. So the expectation is after this fight, you will know who I am. You'll know Vincenzo Iannuzzo. You'll know upstate New York. Obviously, Vasta's got veteran experience. He's had 8 pro fights. This will be his 9th. But I'm looking to come in here and I'm looking to make a big statement. I'm not taking anybody lightly, but I'm also here to, take an edge and show that's my time. So it'll be a big statement for sure.
Yeah. Now, is for people who can't make it up to New Hampshire, is there a link or anything that they can watch that fight? And if there is a link, do you get compensated for that? So if you want to blast that out, so you get a cut of that, because I know, with links and ticket sales and all that good stuff, regional fighters make a lot of money on that or make a good cut of that. Is that something that you have right now or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, I mean, there's still tickets available. Obviously, if you can make it out there and you haven't gotten a ticket yet, the support's always appreciated. But if you can't make it out there, there's a pay-per-view link. You got to go on Combat Zone. It's czmma.com. I'm not exactly sure how to get to it from that point. I had somebody send it to me. So, if you got my number information, reach out to me. I can send you that link. But there is a pay-per-view, and make sure you use code Iannuzzo, IANNUZZO. And that'll give me the credit for it. And, same thing with buying tickets. The support's always appreciated.
Yeah, well, we put this interview up just to make sure you have that link, and I'll include that in. So if people want to support you, have the event shirts come in yet for you?
Nope. So my shirts, everything will be in on Tuesday. That's when the order will be done and finalized. I'll have those. What I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna put out like a message. I'll be, obviously training at the gym that night. So if anybody wants to come in and grab their shirts, and we can kind of turn it into like an open workout. You
There you
can come
go.
in, you can watch the training session.
Yes.
we can get some pictures and stuff after, and then obviously get your shirt. Anybody that can't make it, obviously I'll send them out to you guys. I'm gonna try to get yours sent out as well. I just gotta get that.
Don't worry about me. You got something bigger to perform to prepare. That's the least of my worries. I was just gonna say if you had it, you could show it online and people can grab it as well.
Not yet, but soon.
And Tuesday night, you're training at the legendary Ultimate Athletics right out there in Liverpool.
So on Tuesday night, I'll be at D. Simone's. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be at D. Simone's on Tuesday night. So, I'll talk to him and, we'll try and turn it into something. It would be a good chance to have people pop in, get a chance to see the gym, and then, see what the last couple of days of, fight week are like when you're training, just trying to shed the weight, just get a good workout in. And, everyone's more than welcome to come in and watch. Like I said, we can get some pictures and do a nice little promotion for everybody.
I like it. Now, before we wrap this up, is there any difference training for like an amateur fight versus a pro fight, like your debut for next Saturday night?
A little bit. I mean, obviously you have to adjust to the rule set. You got to adjust to the time. The rounds are longer, and that's probably the biggest thing I would say. So, that's not a huge adjustment, just making sure, you stretch out the extra 2 minutes into each round. So with that, you just train harder, you make sure your cardio is on an even better point. As far as the rule set, I have had an amateur fight that allowed a pro rule set. So I'm not concerned about that. If anything, I think it gives me plenty more things to put in my arsenal that make me more dangerous that I haven't had a chance to show. So, that's not a big adjustment, but I would just say mainly the time of the rounds is the biggest thing. But again, I'm not super concerned with that.
Now, without getting any game plan secrets away, anything specific you say about adding to your arsenal from the amateur rule set to the pro rule set?
I mean, I think it just you see my style at the amateur level. Most people have seen. They would classify me as a striker, a kickboxer, and that's all very true. But there's still a lot that I haven't had a chance to show. I haven't really had to show much grappling. So that's always evolving. I'm always looking to, grow as much as possible in that area. And that's something I think that at the pro level, you have to be able to do. So, if I get the chance to mix that in, by all means. And then, obviously knees to the head, elbows, all those things, it just makes me more dynamic in the striking. So, you add a few more threats to the arsenal and it can be a pretty dangerous fight.
Yeah. And before I let you go, now what is your prediction for this fight against Anthony Vasta?
My prediction for the fight is, you're going to see a great performance. You're going to see a masterclass performance, and like I said, you're going to know my name after, and you're going to know I'm the new guy in the block, and I'm not looking to make a lot of friends here. So,
yeah, you're going to be the new guy in the Northeast, and get that next fight. How many times are you looking to fight this year?
I'd like to fight at least 3 times. I think 3's a solid number. I like to get that because I like to make sure that in between camps, I'm focusing on evolving and growing. I don't want to just rush fights and, not make any evolution. That's something I've always kind of prided myself on, is evolving each fight. So, I would like to get 3. So get this one, maybe June, July, and then November. That'd probably be an ideal time frame around there.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, obviously, the Central New York, Western New York MMA scene is expanding. I mean, obviously you have K4 Fighting, you have Full Contact Promotions, which has 2 back-to-back shows at the Tim Hortons Iceplex. Obviously, a couple guys that I benchmark, you being one of them, Mason Lewis being another one. You're making the jump before Mason, but you guys definitely have the potential to do big things in the MMA scene. So
Yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely excited. Obviously, you have a child, a wife, right?
No, I'm not married yet, but we're getting there.
What are you waiting for?
She asked me the same thing. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just got to pull the trigger.
I got you. No pressure. She's gonna love this interview. So
Yeah.
I
We're gonna have
love
a nice
it.
conversation after this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What before I let you go, any sponsors, any shout outs you want to give to anybody that helped you through this training camp, anything like that? Obviously, if people want to get in touch, support you via the link, via get the t-shirt, or possibly even going to the fights up in New Hampshire, they can DM you on Instagram. You're very responsive of that. They can also DM us as well. We'll definitely help you out. kind of coordinate that. But anybody else you want to give shout outs to, bud?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want to shout out all my training partners first and foremost. You know, I can't do what I do without you guys. Men's at both gyms, D Simone's and Ultimate Athletics. So, you know, I want to give a shout out to them. I want to give a special shout out to my coach, my wrestling coach, Gene Mills, for working with me and turning me into somewhat of a wrestler. You know, I still got a ways to go, but, you know, helping me out in that aspect. So, you know, first and foremost, my gyms and my training partners, obviously my family that supports me, my friends for all being there too. And then my sponsors, huge shout out to my boy Adele at Royal Jewelers. You know, the dude is just growing his business, looking to open up multiple locations. He gets you anything you want, from Rollies to Cartiers, you know, anything you want. My boy's got you there.
There you go.
I want to give a shout out to my two guys that I've known, you know, all throughout school, Anthony Spataro and Spataro Agencies, for being another sponsor. They're another renewing sponsor. So, you know, supporting me throughout the journey all the way to this process. And then my barber, who right now I'm a little dusty, but come fight night, come weigh-ins, you'll see the fresh fade. My boy Connor Van Epps at Van Epps Barber logo. You know, always appreciate that. Dude gets me fresh for all my events. And again, another renewing sponsor that supported me throughout the whole process. So I appreciate all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody's looking to get into a newer used car, where can they come get you and get into a new car for you?
I'm the guy, man. I'm the guy. Drivers Village at Berta Kia. I can sell you any car on the property. So if you have a vehicle that you need, come see me. I got you.
There you go. So there you have it. Obviously, Vinny Iannuzzo is making his pro debut, Combat Zone 83, Saturday, February 24th at the SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire. He is definitely a amateur that we targeted to do big things in the pro scene. He's making his regional debut. I don't think it's going to be long if he keeps those master classes going on in the cage. It's not going to be long before you see him in the dance, either in the PFL or the UFC, and obviously he'll be at the event supporting us as well with full contact. Vinny, I truly appreciate the time. Okay, so just sit tight.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.